How fast does your scooter go?
38 miles an hour.
Terror on two wheels?
You could sort of scoot right down the middle lane. Ooh, zipping right along. That's frightening.
And the victims were piling up.
You, on your electric scooter, collided with the pedestrian. The scooter flipped in the air and hit his car.
This is Judge Judy. Motorist Linus Lee is suing Christopher Peterson for damaging his car when he hit it, riding his scooter.
Yeah, it's case number 36 on the calendar in the matter of Lee versus Peterson. Parties have been sworn in.
Mr. Lee, according to your complaint, in February of this year, on the 11th of February, in the evening at about 6 o'clock, you were driving your car. You were driving your car in San Francisco, and there was a lot of traffic. Is that right?
Correct.
Were you on your way home from work?
No, I was driving Uber.
Okay. So you were working, actually, that day. Did you have a passenger?
Yes, I do.
When this accident occurred, you had a passenger in your car?
Yes, I did.
What kind of car do you have, sir?
A 2007 Camry.
And how long have you been driving Uber?
A couple of years.
Do you do it every day, or do you have another job?
I do it every day.
Is that your sole source of income? Was it in January?
Yes.
Okay. Now, on the same date, the defendant was driving an electric scooter. According to you, there was an accident, and the defendant's scooter damaged your car.
Correct.
You want to be compensated not only for the damage, but you had to have the car fixed, and the car was out for a period of time, and you want your lost income as a result of the accident. Defendant says it was somebody else's fault. So I'm going to start with you, Mr. Peterson. Since there is no issue that on the date of this incident, your scooter collided with the plaintiff's car. I read your answer. So there's no issue with regard to that, correct?
Correct.
And there is also no issue that the plaintiff's car did not hit your scooter, but your scooter hit his car,
That
correct?
is correct. Yep, absolutely.
And there is also no issue that you saw damage to his car as a result of your scooter hitting his car.
Yes.
Your defense is that the accident was caused by a jaywalking pedestrian who you tried to avoid but were unable to avoid. You, on your electric scooter, collided with the pedestrian. As a result of that, you were knocked off the scooter. The scooter flipped in the air. So facts are relatively easy. Now all we have to put is flesh on the bones. How fast does your scooter go, Mr. Peterson?
It goes...
What is the top speed it goes?
30,
top speed?
38 miles an hour.
That's pretty fast. Now, the traffic at the time of this incident, according to both of you, was bumper to bumper, moving very, very slowly.
Yes.
And you were traveling in the opposite direction from the plaintiff's car.
That's correct.
And you were, according to your answer, frustrated with the stalled traffic, so decided to, what do they call it?
I believe it's called lane splitting.
Lane splitting. And lane splitting, I gather from where you were, was you went in between the cars going in the opposite direction. So you were going in the opposite direction from the plaintiff, but right next to the plaintiff, there were cars going in the opposite direction of him, and you were straddling the double yellow line.
That is
lane
correct.
splitting.
Lane splitting. You got it.
And I would assume that when you were riding your scooter, there was a time when you ride your scooter in the same direction as traffic, which I assume since bicycles must do, so must scooters, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. And certainly no threat to you because they weren't whizzing by, right?
That's right.
You could sort of scoot right down the middle lanes, right?
Safely scoot on the middle lanes. That's right.
Safe to say you were scooting. How fast would you estimate you were going while you were scooting?
Approximately 15 miles an hour.
Okay. Now, how fast do you think the pedestrian was walking who was jaywalking?
I would estimate that he was walking at about 2.5 miles an hour.
Okay. So if something is traveling 15 miles an hour, hits that's on a vehicle, because your scooter is a vehicle. It is not your feet. So if it's not your feet and if it has the capability of traveling up to 38 miles an hour, it's a vehicle. How much damage do you think you can do if you hit that pedestrian and made a different sort of a contact? than you fortunately did with that pedestrian.
There definitely
Substantial.
could be damage. Yeah, it would be substantial. Yeah.
Definitely could be damage. I know what it's like when, we all come to our respective jobs with a certain amount of human experience in our minds. And some things are the law and some things are factual. So I'll get to the law in a minute. But right, and bicyclists are supposed to be in the street rather than on the sidewalk. And they feel safer on the sidewalk rather than in the street with cars. They feel safer. But the pedestrians on the sidewalk, when they're walking with other people that are maybe walking at a comfortable, easy pace, and something comes zipping by at 15 miles an hour on the sidewalk, that's frightening.
Indeed.
Indeed, indeed, it is. So when you decided to take a risk and lane split, you had to be cautious enough to anticipate that someone, a child, a dog, might dart out into traffic, and we're talking about nighttime, right? Might dart out into traffic, and you, traveling at 15 miles an hour or better, could have caused some serious injury, just as somebody driving a car has to anticipate that, especially if they're taking a shortcut, that something that they didn't anticipate would happen. So what you want me to say is the pedestrian caused the accident, not me, right? That's what you want me to say. And therefore, Mr. Lee should have found the pedestrian that caused the accident.
That's correct.
And what I'm saying to you is, since you were also in a position to speak to the pedestrian, right? That's what you say in your answer. Right? Well, that's a yes or a no. You say in your answer you spoke to the pedestrian because you got knocked off and he got knocked off. You both spoke to each other and made sure that you were both okay.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right. We both fell, and the
Yes.
first thing I said is, are you okay?
Right. Because if he wasn't okay, I guarantee you he would sue you. He wouldn't sue Mr. Lee. He would sue you because you chose to lane split, go 15 miles an hour where he was not anticipating, or better, your scooter was going to be lane splitting. The pedestrian saw the traffic was at a standstill and figured it was okay to cross the street, okay? So this is what you can do. Since I assume you didn't get the name and address of the pedestrian, did you?
No.
Well, that's your fault. Because what you could have done if Mr. Lee sues you because it's your scooter, the pedestrian didn't hit his car, your scooter hit his car. That we all agree on. So if Mr. Lee sues you, you have the right under the law to implead the pedestrian and say, listen, if I'm responsible to Mr. Lee because my scooter was the vehicle that caused damage to his car, I'm going to be his fault, because if I have to pay Mr. Lee, the pedestrian has to pay me. Why is that Mr. Lee's obligation to do? That's your obligation to do. You exchanged information with him, correct? That's how you're here.
Correct. I anticipated being a witness to this. I did not anticipate him coming after me.
Well, yeah, just the same way, Mr. Peterson, that you didn't anticipate that somebody might be walking in between cars in dead-stop traffic at 6 o'clock at night when it was dark and decided to lane split. You anticipated wrong, that he was going to sue the pedestrian and not the person whose vehicle struck his. Okay, can I see pictures of your car, sir?
Yes. I have a video, too.
I'd like to see it.
Oh,
How did you get a video?
I got a dash cam.
Oh, you have a dash cam?
Correct.
Ooh, zipping right along. Who were you scootering with, sir?
I was scootering with myself and my pool stick.
Yourself and your pool stick.
Yeah.
Would you play that again? There was nobody else there? I thought that I saw two people. Maybe I missed it. Go ahead. Oh, no, it was... I see what it was. It was a reflection from the other car. Yeah, damage to your car, sir, which he is responsible for.
This is the first one.
I see one. You say you have two?
I got three.
I'd like to see all three.
These are the scratches from the scooter.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. This is the last one. This is damage
Oh,
here.
well, that one's substantial.
Correct.
That one's substantial. Did you have it fixed?
Not yet.
Can I see the estimates to fix it, please?
Yes. This is the first
Thank you.
page. the second page.
I just want to see the total. Okay. Anything else?
Yes, this is the third page.
Yeah, you're going a little overboard, Mr. Lee. Now, are you still driving Uber or are you doing anything else, sir?
I'm still driving Uber, but since I spoken to, before I came here, I spoken to a repairer, and they can do it for 5 days. So this is not the exact amount that I'm suing for. Now it's reduced.
Mr. Lee, that's not my question to you. I asked you, do you have another job other than Uber?
I don't.
Now?
No.
Okay. Now, since this incident happened, Mr. Lee, which was in February, and you were driving, how much money did you make every day since February?
Average every day I make about $250 to $300. That is I gross. Sometimes a little bit over 300.
And you were able to make $250 or $300 a day despite your scratched car?
Yes.
Yes, right?
Yes.
Just give me a second, please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
She came home from school while the plaintiff was living there, and so you and your daughter were sleeping in the living room.
We were sleeping in our dining room.
Dining room, living room, whatever it was. It was not the way it was when Miss Barnett came there.
motorist Linus Lee claims Christopher Peterson was splitting lanes on his scooter when he ran into his car.
Mr. Lee, it looks to me as if the average price of a 2003 Camry like yours is about $3,500. I don't know how much mileage you have on your car, but I think it would probably be a mistake to spend more than $2,000 to fix it. I certainly wouldn't spend $4,000 to $4. And I think that if you took this car in to have the scratches taken out, which are the first two pictures, and the other one, you could probably do that in 2 days. Whether you could or whether you could not, I'm awarding you $2,500. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. We're finished. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This case is concluded. You are excused.
No, I was, safely lane splitting. I'm a big fan of micro-mobility.
I waited for him to contact me for 14 days, but he did not, so I sued him.
And this guy came out of, nowhere, slammed on the brakes.
It's his business, none of my business.
Tried to minimize all damage, so made sure he was okay right away. It was just an unfortunate event.
Yes, I gotta get my car fixed.
I believe that all of the blame fundamentally lies with the jaywalking pedestrian.
All parties in the matter of Barnett versus Brown. Step to the podium, please.
Ted Barnett and his daughter, 21-year-old Claire, are suing Claire's former roommate, Lisa Brown, for the return of rent and a security deposit.
Mr. Barnett, this is your daughter, and she decided to transfer schools. She's a full-time student. That was in December of last year. She needed a place to stay, and I assume you answered an ad on the internet renting a room in her home, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
The cost of the room was $1,300 a month. I assume that Miss Barnett, you had kitchen privileges and all the other things that go with having a room in a house. How large a house was it?
I'm not sure exactly the square footage, but it was a one-bedroom apartment.
So you rented the bedroom?
Yes, I rented the one bedroom.
And where did Miss Brown sleep?
She slept in a bed in the living room.
Miss Brown, had you used the bedroom as your bedroom prior to Miss Barnett moving in?
Yes, I did. And my apartment is pretty large, so I was able to partition off.
No, don't tell me it's pretty
Yes.
large. I asked you a specific question. Did you, in fact, use the bedroom before you rented the room to Miss Barnett?
Yes.
And before you rented the room to Miss Barnett, who lived with you?
My daughter lived with me I'm going to say when I first signed the lease, she lived
She
with
rented
me.
just 1 second. Let's go back.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your daughter came home from school and stayed.
And brought a dog.
She studied remotely.
They knew the dog
Just
was
a
there.
second. Mr. Barnett, I didn't ask you anything. And if you're winning, I would tell you it's a good time to keep your mouth shut.
Judy, Ted Barnett and his daughter Claire say Claire's former roommate, Lisa Brown, is withholding her security deposit. Lisa is countersuing for unpaid rent.
Now, Miss Barnett saw the room in December, signed a lease. In December, where was your daughter living?
She was in East Coast. She did not live with me.
And when, immediately prior to December of 2019, when did your daughter live with you, if she ever did?
She lived with me for the month of May until August of 2019.
May, so from May until August?
Yes.
And prior to May, she didn't live with you?
No, prior to May, she did not live with me.
She lived with you for about, she was what?
She's a student at San Francisco State.
Okay. So she was a student and she lived with you during the summer.
Yes.
And then she went back to school. So you moved in, signed a lease, and it's not a very difficult case. As the world knows, in February, March of this year, we have a global pandemic, and most students were learning remotely by March. Correct, Ms. Barnett?
Correct.
And that includes your daughter.
Correct.
Because she came home from school in December while the plaintiff was living there. Or she came...
She did stay.
She stayed.
Yes.
And so the two of you now, you and your daughter, were sleeping in the living room.
We were sleeping in our dining room.
Dining room, living room, whatever it was. It was not the way it was when Miss Barnett came there.
Yes.
Now, how many bathrooms are there in the house, Miss Barnett?
There's one bathroom.
Okay, so this is a very easy case. I'm going to get to it. You left to move back home. There is no question in my mind that either you or you and your daughter are back to the bedroom. You didn't get another boarder in the house.
Well, due to the COVID situation.
You want your security deposit back.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's what the case is about. Now, your property was there until the end of March 22nd. So you wanted a pro-rata part of your rent for March. That you can't get. But unless you're prepared to tell me that she damaged something in the house, she gets her security deposit back, Ms. Brown. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor. There was actually in the lease that she signed, there was a section, and it's there, that says that if the lease was broken prior to a natural cause, that there was a fee of $1,300 that would be charged.
Okay, so I'm going to answer your question. It's very simple.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook.
When Miss Barnett rented the house, the room in your house with one bathroom, the intention was, and your intention was, that two people would be using that bathroom, two people would be using the kitchen, two people, not three. As a result of the pandemic, things changed. And one of the things that's changed is 1/3 of the bathroom was now being used by your daughter. 1/3 of the kitchen was now being used by your daughter. All consequences as unintended consequences of the pandemic. Your daughter came home from school and stayed.
And brought a dog.
She studied remotely.
They knew the dog was there.
Just a second. Mr. Barnett, I didn't ask you anything. And if you're winning, I would tell you it's a good time to keep your mouth shut.
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,300.
Ma'am, I have a
Thank you.
countersuit as well.
It's dismissed. I just told you. It's dismissed. You have to return her security deposit. Is your daughter still living home?
Well, she was there
Is
at
your
home.
daughter? My question is a simple one. Is your daughter still living home?
Yes.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy, did she take the money and run?
You did not rebuild the house. Do you get where I'm going, Miss Cassis?
No.
I have all the answers.
Next Judge Judy.
I actually rented the room, and she had full access to the room.
You know, me and Lisa and her daughter, we all had a very pleasant time living together.
And my daughter was not there and was not supposed to be there. Something happened. She had to come home.
So no animosity towards either of them at all.
And that never changed any portion of the room.
But, you know, what's fair is fair.
As well as her access to the apartment.
So I'm also glad that Judge Judy saw.
No, it's just me and my daughter due to COVID.
Yeah, just ready to get back into school.
This case reads as almost a mini-series.
From Matchmaker.
The friend that you brought over and the defendant developed an affection for each other.
To Minister.
When I got myself ordained on January 1st, I thought I was helping out.
And after the reception.
A fraudulent wedding.
Deception.
He refused to sign the marriage certificate.
Why didn't you sign it?
This is Judge Judy. James Potts is suing his former landlord, April McDermott, for car expenses and the return of his security deposit.
Judge's Kermit, parties have been sworn in. Gentlemen, have a seat, please.
Mr. Potts, this case reads a little bit from your complaint and from Ms. McDermott's answer as almost a mini-series. From what I gather, you rented a guest house on Miss McDermott's property. In what year did you do that, sir?
2019, Your Honor.
And you are a veteran.
Yes, ma'am.
And from what I gather from your complaint, the Veterans Affairs paid not only some of the rent, but also paid the security deposit for the first several months you were there. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
How many months did the VA pay rent?
They paid for June, July, August, September, and November.
June, July, August, September. What about October?
October also, I'm sorry.
And November. So the VA paid for 6 months.
That's correct.
And the security deposit.
Correct.
Just give me the month in 2019 that you moved in.
June.
June. And when did you move out?
I moved out February 4th of 2020.
So December and January, just follow me, were the only 2 months that you personally were responsible for rent.
That's correct.
Did you pay December's rent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did he pay December's rent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
Did he pay January's rent?
No, Your Honor.
How much did you pay in January?
In January, I started paying the rent in December.
Just no.
Okay.
Tell me, Mr. Potts, let's not play with each other. You know, I'm smart.
Yes, you are.
May not be youthful and lithe anymore, but I am smart. How much did you pay for January's rent?
The total was about $900 because I started paying December's rent in November, and between
Oh, no,
November,
no.
I understand. I understand.
How much did you pay in January? If you can't give me an answer, I'm going to ask her.
I did.
How much did you pay in January?
In January, I paid about $800, I believe it was.
How much did he pay in January?
$150.
Yeah. And you moved out in February.
February 4th.
So, and the total rent was $1,200 a month. So you paid $1,200 in December. So you paid a total in rent for this guest house of $1,350. Now, while you were there, two things happened while you were living in the guest house. First, you brought a friend over to visit you, and the friend that you brought over and the defendant decided to get married. They asked you, because I assume they felt that you were the reason that they found each other, if you would get ordained as a minister so that you could perform the ceremony, and you could do that online. Also correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
In what month did you become an ordained person so that you could perform their wedding ceremony?
That was in January of 2020.
Just for my own purposes, would you explain the process to me, how that works? Do you have to fill out forms? Do you have to pay a fee? What do you have to do? And
I went on.
How did you find it?
I did a little bit of research, and I found Universal Life Church did online ordinations. You apply, there's no fee, and you become ordained.
And did you do that?
I did that.
And did you get a certificate?
I did, Your Honor.
Do you have it?
I do.
I'd like to see it because that's part of her counterclaim. Okie dokie. And when did you perform the ceremony?
That was on January 23rd, Your Honor.
Also, in addition to doing this mitzvah of putting these two lovely people together, that means a good deed, putting these two people together, you also bought from dollars. Also correct?
Also correct, Your Honor.
What kind of car was it?
A 2005 Chevrolet Classic.
So you bought a 15-year-old car from her?
Yes.
For $1,000?
Yes, Your Honor.
In what month did you buy the car?
I purchased the vehicle in August. Your Honor, if I may?
Yes.
In July, the vehicle was sitting undriven, and I noticed that the tags were expired, so I offered as a show of faith, because I'd had an issue with the car. It was disabled. I offered in a show of faith to pay for the registration, to make the registration current, so that she would allow me to rent the car from her.
I heard the story. You're a person of very good faith. You ultimately purchased this car from her for $1,000.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's another part of your lawsuit. So you want two things. You want your security deposit back, which was $1,200. She acknowledges that she got the security deposit of $1,200. Her defense to that is you didn't pay the security deposit. The VA paid the security deposit, so you shouldn't get the security deposit back, even though there was no damage to the apartment. And you owed money for the month of, you used part of the security deposit. That's your defense to the security deposit portion, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Trying to simplify this mini-series so that it doesn't become a tome. The second part of your lawsuit is, while you bought this 15-year-old car that was being not driven with expired tags, you say that this woman is so misguided or damaged that she agreed to pay for any mechanical trouble you had with the car, and you had mechanical trouble with the car which cost you thousands, which you want her to be responsible for. That's the second part of your lawsuit.
My request for the repairs on the vehicle were in lieu of receipt of the title, which I've never received.
Why don't you go and get the title? Did you give him a bill of sale? Did you give him a bill of sale?
I have the bill of sale, Your Honor. After I would refuse to give him the $1,200 back, he also refused to sign the marriage certificate. He wouldn't pick up the bill of sale or the title.
Just a second. Do you have it with you?
I do.
The bill of sale?
Yes.
Give it to him. Now get a title. Now you have the bill of sale. Could you put that bill of sale up there on the evidence desk so I can see it? Take down your ministry. That's dated September 20th, 2019. Okay. We're going to need some more specificity on that. You're going to have to put on that, Miss McDermott, the VIN number on the car. Do you have anything else? Do you have the title to the car? Are you the registered owner of the car?
Yes, Your Honor, I have the title. My mother was the registered owner, but she signed it over to me and also included a letter that she went with Mr. Potts to the DMV to pay the back registration so that the car would be not taken for unpaid registration, and he was supposed to turn the registration over to his name.
You want to give him the title to the car?
Yes.
Along with the note?
Yes.
Very good. Now he has all of that and the car. She's not paying for your repairs, sir. You understand that?
I do understand,
okay.
Your Honor.
And Your Honor?
Perfect. And you what?
He drove the unregistered vehicle in my mother's name to a casino and received...
No, just a sec. Just a sec.
Okay.
Come up. We haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
Right now, I'm taking care of Mr. Potts.
Okay.
Who, his 2 months' rent that he should have paid for the 2 months that he was there is $2,400. He paid a total of $1,350, which means that he owes you...
I have a detail of what I paid for December and January.
Your Honor, if I may?
You're going to have to show me, sir, what you paid in total, because the VA paid up until through November. So it's December and January.
They paid a
December and January. No, they paid.
They paid a graduated amount. I was partially responsible for the rent from August, September, October, and November.
How much did you pay her?
My share was $300, $400, $500, and $600, I believe, Your Honor.
Is that correct?
No, Your Honor. In December, when they stopped paying his full amount, he was having a hard time paying the rent.
Just a second. Were you getting a check from the VA?
They start out paying the full amount of $1,200. As the months progress, they start paying less, and he starts paying a portion. December, they stopped paying altogether. He was struggling. We lowered the rent to $850. I gave him every 2 weeks when he got paid to pay $425. He did not follow through with that. I have the return of deposit here showing exactly what monies he owes and the total of what was used from the deposit.
Okay, now this is where you're in trouble, Miss McDermott. $1,200 in a deposit. I'm eliminating the $60 cleaning fee. Rent owed on 127 not paid. $425. Per lease, extra money for an extra person, I'm not bothering with that. If he had somebody else living there and you let that happen, let it happen. And by the way, it couldn't have bothered you that much because you let him marry you in January, right?
Right.
Rent rebate to take money on a cruise that he did not use, came back on a cruise and borrowed money from family and friends. That's ridiculous.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
While it may be true that the VA paid the security deposit, he's a veteran. Between the two of you, he has more of a right to that money, certainly, than you do as a stranger.
James Potts says his former landlord, April McDermott, is withholding his security deposit and the title to a car he bought from her. April is countersuing James for an unpaid parking ticket and for performing a fraudulent wedding.
Okay, so he owes you $425 for rent. Deducting that gave him back nothing. Is that right? You gave him back nothing?
No.
Okay, so you owe him $785 for his security deposit. Because while it may be true that the VA paid the security deposit, he's a veteran. I assume you're not.
No.
That was a benefit that he got, that between the two of you, he has more of a right to that money, certainly, than you do as a stranger.
Sure.
And the Veterans Administration may come back to you one day and say to you, sir, you owe us $785 from the security deposit that we paid for you, but right now, as between the two of you, it's your money.
Your Honor,
$785.
The representative for the VA told me that when I move out, the deposit would be
just
mine.
a second. Just a second.
Okay.
Just a second.
I'm sorry.
I just said that to you, and you can't tell me what the VA said to you. That's hearsay.
Okay.
I've deducted the rent that you owe her.
Okay, I have a detail. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Okay.
I have a detail of the monies that I did pay.
Go. Go.
It's on the bottom here.
What's on the bottom there?
For December, the rent that I paid on November 18th was
Now I'm
$400.
talking about for all the months. My share, $400.
Right.
Said you took $100, paid $300. Okay, $785. We're done. That's what you get. Now let's get to your counts. Had the car. Is your claim that he got 2 parking tickets that were your responsibility and or your mother's responsibility? Do you have proof of those parking tickets?
Yes, Your Honor. It was just one ticket.
How much?
$200.
Did you pay it?
No, ma'am.
You did not pay it.
No, ma'am.
Who paid it?
It is not paid.
It's almost a year old, and it's not for you anyway. It's in the name of Joyce McDermott. That's your mother.
My mother.
Well, that's unfortunate for your mother. $785. Now, the other part of your counterclaim is a fraudulent wedding. After this kerfuffle that you had with the defendant, Mr. Potts, about the rent, and I assume that back in late January or February, there was a kerfuffle over rent. Did you not sign their marriage certificate?
I was offered by the defendant to trade the title to the vehicle for my signature. In the ensuing time frame, I did a little bit of research myself because when they had asked me to perform the ceremony, she told me that Richard would do the research and they would pay all the fees. So when I got myself ordained on January 1st, I thought I was helping out. And then after I had moved out and I was doing a little bit of research.
There were no fees.
There was a fee required by the County of San Diego for a deputy marriage commissioner. I believe it was the end of March, well after the ceremony. So the fee, the $80 fee, so I could not legally sign the document.
Your Honor, he did not know that at the time. The marriage was in January and the document was never signed.
Yeah, I know it was never signed, but even if he signed it, it wouldn't have been legitimate, is what he's saying.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You have an ethical and moral obligation not to extort something in exchange for signing the marriage certificate.
I was not extorting, Your Honor.
Why didn't you sign it?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. James Potts is accusing his former landlord, April McDermott, of withholding his security deposit and the title to a car he bought from her.
Now, did you and your mate subsequently marry?
We are scheduled to marry again on November 13th of this year.
Where?
Las Vegas.
And you have that all set up?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good. With somebody who is licensed to perform weddings?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have family and friends coming?
One daughter and son-in-law.
Was anyone there?
14 family members that came from Arizona and California. We all went. That's why the original was not signed that day.
Who went?
My fiance,
The plaintiff is plaintiff too?
and all of our family members. We paid for a cruise for 3 days to Mexico for everybody, 16 people.
Did you pay, sir?
No, Your Honor, I did not.
They took you. They took you as a guest.
Yes, Your Honor, along with the other 14.
I don't care about anybody else. Whether there are other family members, you're not a family member. They took you as a guest. When did she ask you to sign the marriage license? On what date?
When I asked her for the title to my car, I have that.
On
in
what
here.
date?
I believe the first time that she asked was on February 19th of 2020.
And where did that conversation take place?
In text, Your Honor.
May I see them?
You may.
I actually think that that was pretty nasty, Mr. Potts, not to sign the marriage certificate. You had nice people. You lived in a nice guest house, practically for free, with the VA picking up the majority of the tab. They were nice people. They took you on a vacation. They paid for it.
They didn't ask me if I wanted to go. I'd never wanted to go on a cruise, Your Honor.
Well, I think, sir, that you have an ethical to officiate at a wedding, not to extort something in exchange for signing the marriage certificate.
I was not extorting, Your Honor.
Why didn't you sign it?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, why didn't you sign it? In February. Just tell me why you didn't sign it in February.
Because in February...
Give me the reason.
When she was in Hawaii, she told me that she would pay me my deposit, she would give me my title when she got back. When I asked her for the deposit and the title...
Why didn't you sign the marriage certificate the first time? You're supposed to sign it the day of the marriage.
Right, Your Honor.
I'm an officiant. I have performed hundreds of weddings in my lifetime as a judge. The day of the wedding, the day that I perform the ceremony, I sign it, I put it in an envelope, I put a stamp on it, and the first thing I do is to put it in a mailbox. So I'm certain that I have fulfilled my...
Your Honor, this was my first ceremony ever. I was just ordained on January 1st, as you know.
Good. That just cost you $785. Your case is dismissed. We're done. Thank you very much. I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy in Vegas.
Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy...
What did you find when you got there?
My car on top of 9 fence posts and chain link fence wrapped underneath of it.
He says he wasn't even there. It doesn't get easier. It's just going to get harder.
Judge Judy.
I believe she was a fair judge. I don't believe she was being really fair this time.
I do feel Judge Judy was fair in the judgment.
There were a lot of details that were not brought out.
I do feel that there was some stuff I didn't get to address as well, but she did the best she can.
I told her I was going to be late with the rent.
Well, he's a gambler.
I was having a problem getting it.
He had gambled the money away that he was supposed to pay the rent with.
I was going to go and get the rent when she told me to get out.
And I had just had it at that point.
I don't know if it was fair, but I felt that that was an appropriate response to how I was being treated.
That was my mistake. I should have had it signed right away, directly after the marriage, so I take that on my own shoulders.
Her car was totaled. She ended up in the hospital. She was in physical therapy for a long time.
The crash had question marks.
The day of the accident, was there insurance on it?
Yes, ma'am. There was insurance on it.
If not, I'm going to make you look so ridiculous.
There was no insurance on it.
And a driver won't yield.
I took responsibility for the car.
You took responsibility because the accident was your fault.
This is Judge Judy. Sharice Riley is suing fellow motorist Zero Leva for running into her car when he ran a red light.
Judge, this is case number 65 on the calendar in the matter of Riley versus Leva. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, ma'am.
Miss Riley, whose car were you driving on the night of this accident?
It was my car.
What kind of car was it?
It was a 2011 Nissan Altima.
Did you have insurance on the car on the night of the accident?
Yes.
You had liability insurance.
Liability.
Not collision.
I believe so.
Well, the insurance company didn't pay you for your car.
Not the car, but my bodily injuries, yes.
How much did your insurance company pay you for your injuries?
$5,000.
Did you have a lawyer or did you just settle with them?
I had gotten a lawyer.
Mr. Leyva, whose car were you driving on September 11th, 2019?
It was a coworker.
Tell me what you were going to do, what you should have done. Whose car was it?
It was a coworker of mine.
And your coworker didn't have insurance on the car that you were driving?
Yes, he did.
May I see proof of the insurance?
Yeah, it's on the... Of course. I believe the insurance is right here, underneath on the police report. It's AAA insurance, and then the policy number is right here as stated.
Did you try to contact his insurance company?
My insurance did, and so did my lawyer.
And what was the result of that?
They both said that there was no insurance on it.
I'm going to call up her lawyer, sir. That's very easy for me to do. Do you understand, Mr. Leyva?
Yes, ma'am.
This is not going to be easy. Was there insurance on the car?
Yes, there was, ma'am.
On the date of this? Fine. If not, I'm going to make you look so ridiculous. Because you know whether or not there was paid insurance on this car that was a valid insurance policy. You know that because she was taken to the hospital and she had a lawyer. And they couldn't use the insurance on that car because it was not valid at the time, either because your coworker didn't pay the premium or whatever.
I bought the car the next day after the accident, ma'am. I took responsibility for the car. I mean,
just a second, that's not my question, Mr. Leyva. You bought the car the next day for insurance on it.
Yes, ma'am, there was insurance on it.
Not the day you bought it.
No.
The day of the accident.
Yes, there was insurance on the car the day of the accident.
Okay. May I have the name and telephone number of your lawyer?
It's actually in my phone, if I could get it from my phone.
Yes, sure. Absolutely.
Her name is Jennifer, and the number is 424.
Jennifer what?
I'm not sure of her last name.
How did you get this lawyer?
I have the Jacoby and Myers papers. They're right here.
It was through Jacoby and Myers?
Yes.
Okay. Did you get a letter from Jacoby and Myers indicating that they had no insurance?
No. They had called me through everything and had told me that he did not have insurance.
Doesn't answer the phone. Yeah, there's no question, Mr. Leyva, that there was no insurance on your car. You have a counterclaim. That's how I know there was no insurance on your car, because your counterclaim owes me the value of the car, which you didn't own, according to you, the night that was in an accident. You did sign the counterclaim, did you not?
Yes, ma'am.
Totaled? Is that what you're telling me? You bought a car the next day, which is what you just told me, that you bought the car the next day, and you're countersuing because you say the value of the car is zero, but you bought it the next day.
Yeah, I bought it the next day because my wife and I were originally planning on getting this car. However, we got into this car accident.
You and your wife's not here, right?
No, she's at home taking care of the baby.
Yeah, listen, the two of you idiots, according to you, went out late at night with an 8-month-old baby.
No, it was just me.
Just a second. You went out, according to you, according to your statement, you and your idiot wife went out late at night to a gas station because you had to buy distilled water for your baby. Well, a normal person, a person with a half a brain, late at night, if they needed distilled water for the baby, the wife stays home with the 8-month-old baby, and the husband goes and gets distilled water, if that's what you were going for.
Yeah.
Late at night with an 8-month-old baby.
Yeah, I went by myself. She wasn't in the car with me, nor was my child in there. It's right here on the police report. It's literally just me in the car. And I went because that's the only car that I had at the time, and I'm the husband, I provide, so I went out late at night to get the distilled water.
You said that the car was undrivable after this, Mr. Leyva. It was undrivable. It was totally taken off the air the next day.
Because the agreement with me and the coworker was to buy the car. Originally, I took it out that night for a test drive.
You know I don't believe a word you're saying to me. Do you know I don't believe a word you're saying to me?
I'm sorry you feel that way, but that's literally how it happened. I'm sorry if you feel like I'm an idiot, but it's just that's how it was.
Well,
literally, we had an agreement to test drive the car, and I bought it the next day. I could have easily been like, hey, man, I'm sorry, like, I'm not buying this car. It's totaled, but I took responsibilities for that. My actions, and bought the car off of my coworker.
You took responsibility because the accident was your fault.
It wasn't my fault. I'm sorry. It's on the police report. It says nobody at fault.
Listen to me, Mr. Leyva. Somebody has to be responsible. I have a feeling that the person responsible for this is the person that had no insurance because she ended up in the hospital with 3 dislocated discs. She was in physical therapy for a long time. Her car was totaled. And according to you, you bought your car the next day. So I do have a problem, sir. And if you can't see why anybody who sits on this side of the bench would have a problem with your story of buying a totaled car the next day when, according to you, there was insurance on the car, which could have paid to have the car either repaired or paid for something, and you paid for it the next day, I just don't. And you felt responsible. And there wasn't insurance, so you paid the coworker anyway, which I'm not so sure of. Anyway, you were at a 4-way intersection. According to you, you were making a left turn.
Yes.
Go ahead. Let's take it from there, Miss Riley.
The east and west had turned green, so I was waiting for my turn. Once the left turn signal turned green, I had went when I was halfway in between the intersection and where I was turning into. That is when we had collided.
And what collided with what?
He had collided with me. There's a diagram right here of me turning, and he had gone through and hit me. My car had been right on this side, while his car was where my car was turning.
What hospital were you taken to?
I was taken to Desert Valley Hospital.
Were you taken by ambulance?
Yes.
Did you stay there?
I was there for a couple of hours, and then they had released me.
Do you have the report from the hospital?
I do have the hospital papers.
I'd like to see it. Okay, now I want to see the police report. Is there a second page to this police report?
Yes.
Cell phone in use. Was anybody using a cell phone?
No.
No.
And that's totally useless. Anyway, you received $5,000 for whatever medical injuries that you had, pain and suffering. So what you're suing for now is the value of your car. Did you have the car fixed or was it totaled?
No, it's still totaled in my driveway.
Did you get an estimate to fix it?
I didn't.
Okay.
I do have pictures of them.
I'd like to see it.
Here's a picture of it on this side.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, he hit you in the back. Got it. Do we have a value of a 2011 Nissan Altima? I tried to get it, but what is it? Yeah, got it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. Thank you, we're finished.
Case is concluded. Parties are excused.
I think it was a good decision. I even have papers in here that...
She's turning in front of me and I was going straight forward. But I mean, she's the judge. She knows the law. And I mean...
My insurance had claimed that it was 100% his fault.
That's her interpretation of it. So I have no argument against her decision.
He even told me that it was my fault. Don't call the police. I'll give you cash.
It happened, and I'm glad it's done. And it took about a year.
I'm hoping it's time to get my car fixed.
Step to the podium, please.
Carmen Vera Melgar is suing her ex-boyfriend, Michael Hardman, for an unpaid loan to pay his rent, utilities, and a motorcycle bill.
Ms. Vera Melgar, how long were you and Mr. Hardman dating?
A year and a half.
Did you ever live together?
No. I would stay in his house and he would stay in mine.
This is about a loan that you allegedly made to him. Mr. Hardman says there was never a loan. You did things to help each other out. He helped you out. You helped him out. He acknowledges that you gave him a little bit of money, nothing close to what you say you gave him. While you were together, while you were dating, did you buy a car?
No.
Did you buy a car?
No, he bought... No.
So he never co-signed for a loan for you?
He did, but not for a car.
For what?
To take my car out of the impound because they impounded my car at his complex. Oh, no, that's different.
Just a second. So he paid to get your car out of impound?
No,
he co-signed for you to get your car out of impound?
No. It's 2 different times that I asked for that loan. When he co-signed, it was for my tuition for school. He never made a payment.
He co-signed for your tuition.
He never made a payment.
I didn't ask you whether he made a payment. I asked you whether he co-signed for a loan for you.
He did.
The answer would be yes.
Yes. September 2019.
And it was for that semester?
Fall semester.
Did you pay for the fall semester?
I did.
Or you haven't paid it back yet?
I paid.
So that loan is no longer in existence?
No.
Is that correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Now, tell me, what other time he helped you out financially?
Never. He didn't help me.
Now tell me when you gave him money when he lost his job.
I let him borrow money. I did not give him money.
When? When?
It was a period from February 2019 to April 2019.
So February, March, and April, over a 3-month period.
Correct.
So you didn't give him money in one lump sum. It was different amounts of money for the 3 months.
Correct, when he was unemployed.
Okay. And how much did you give him in February?
Do you want to see the bank statements? I didn't add up by the month. I added them up.
I want you to tell me what you gave him in February.
I don't know.
You said you didn't give it to him in one lump sum.
No, altogether, it's over $3,000. I don't know exact.
No, exact is what I deal with.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
These are dates he asked me for money.
When you went to a restaurant?
Yeah, when we went out. Want to charge me for dates.
I don't. What's next? And you're trying my patience.
Carmen Vera Melgar says ex-boyfriend Michael Hartman owes for a loan.
Now, I want you to tell me what you gave him in February.
I don't know.
You said you didn't give it to him in one lump sum.
No, altogether, it's over $3,000. I don't know exact.
No, exact is what I deal with. If you didn't give him money over in a specific time, you said he knew you were getting your tax returns. I'm reading your complaint. Your complaint said he knew you were getting a refund from your tax returns, and in the beginning, I loaned him $3,500 for his rent, motorcycle bill, and utilities. That's what you say. Now you tell me that it wasn't $3,500. You gave him money, or you say loaned him money, over a period of time, February, March, and April.
It's an estimate.
And I want to know how much money it was in February. I mean, did you keep a ledger? Did you keep a notebook? Did you keep a something?
My bank statements.
Well, I'd like to see them. I would like to see your bank statements for February. And point out, in February,
that's my
just
tax
show
return?
me what, no, there's your, in February.
Registration, rent.
No, you're just pointing to things.
You want me to add it up?
No, I want you to tell me from your bank statement, point, what you say were his bills that you paid.
This $500 is for rent.
Which one? Just
Rent.
a second. Just a second. So what you're telling me is on February 22nd, pay attention.
I am.
What you're telling me is on February 22nd, you withdrew $500 that you're ascribing that you gave to him.
Correct.
You say it's for rent. That doesn't say it's for rent.
It doesn't.
All that says is that you withdrew from your bank $500. What else do you ascribe to him?
These payments are for his motorcycle.
What is that? Okay.
Motorcycle
Card purchases,
payments.
that?
Or parts
Just
for
a
his
second.
motorcycle.
PayPal, Gums Motors, card $99.99. Is that your motorcycle, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Did she also in February give you $500 in cash?
No, ma'am, I do not recall.
Okay, let's move on. We have $100 for the motorcycle. What else is on that you would ascribe to him?
These are dates. He asked me for money. He was going to pay me back.
When you went to a restaurant?
Yeah, when we went out.
I'm not getting involved in
I
that.
wasn't going to
What
ask
else?
for it, but he wants to charge me for dates.
I don't care. Listen to me. I'm not getting involved in that matter.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did she transfer money to you, $200 in April?
No, ma'am, I don't recall that.
That's your name.
Where?
There, Rashad.
Is that your first name, Mr. Hardman, Rashad?
No, ma'am, that's my middle name.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Carmen Vera Melgar says ex-boyfriend Michael Hartman owes for a loan.
Listen to me. I'm not getting involved in that, madam. Courts
Okay.
don't get involved in that.
Good.
What else is on this list? So far, we have his motorcycle payment of $100.
The gym I paid for?
Okay. Is that your gym membership?
His.
Yes, ma'am. I
Sir.
added her to our gym
You
membership.
added her to your gym.
Yes, ma'am. And I do
Next. Keep going. Keep going.
The Palm Avenue, Imperial Beach, the money I take out, it's for him, for his rent.
That's 2 payments of $500.
Yeah, he was
You have one
unemployed
payment
for a
on the
long
22nd
time.
and one. Hey, madam, you have to understand, courts don't get involved in this kind of nonsense when 2 people are dating with each other and they're intertwining money. So far, I have $100 for his motorcycle payment. Keep going. That's February. Let's go to March.
Hold on.
What is card purchase? Cox, what is that?
His internet bill.
Did she pay your internet bill, sir, for Cox?
Yes, ma'am.
I absolutely hate to do that. That's $181. Okay, let's go to February. Finish it up. What's next in February?
His motorcycle payment.
That's a second motorcycle payment in February. Where is that?
This is his motorcycle payment. This is another one for $300.
No.
The previous one was a part for his motorcycle. This is the motorcycle note.
Oh, got it. Okay. So the previous one was not his motorcycle payment, the $100. It was a part. Do you remember she paid for a part for your motorcycle?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And your motorcycle payment was to Landmark Financial?
Yes, ma'am.
$507 and $300. Okay, let's go to March.
So this is his electric bill as well, $201. And this is another
Was
payment.
that your electric bill? Did she pay your electric bill, sir, in
No,
February?
ma'am. I don't recall that.
I lived in TJ, so that's not my bill.
Let's go. Next, March. Let's go, March.
Oh, I got April.
So nothing in March.
Yes, but they're dates, so you said no. This is more money I transferred to him that he asked me.
Did she transfer money to you, $200 in April?
No, ma'am. I don't recall that.
There, Rashad.
Where is his name?
In Orange.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Did she transfer money to you, $200 in April?
No, ma'am. I don't recall that.
That's your name.
Okay. Where?
There, Rashad.
Where is his name?
In Orange.
Is that your first name, Mr. Hardman, Rashad?
No, ma'am. That's my middle name.
His name is Michael.
Michael Rashad.
I'm going to give her that, sir. Anything
Yes,
else, madam? So far, he owes you $1,288. What's next? And you're trying my patience.
It's money I took out.
That's not happening. That's not happening. $1,288. And you're very, very lucky, madam. Don't give men any money anymore unless you get a note. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Goodbye.
Case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
When somebody isn't telling me the truth, the hair on the back of my neck stands up. You can't come into court and think that the judge is stupid.
Next Judge Judy.
I thought she would feel like I owe her anything
He's agreeing that I let him borrow money for rent.
because we did share a gym membership.
I was trying to help him out, not to be in the street.
I paid to get her car out of impound when she was arrested.
He got divorced, and we got into an argument.
And throughout time, I would help her.
He got kind of physical. He called the police, which are his neighbors, the people he knows.
It was all part of a relationship. I help her, she helped me, and that's how I look at it.
Oh, I'm going to be single forever?
I hope to never hear from her again.
So you rented a room in the house.
The reasons to evict were growing.
He brought in his daughter, and then he brought in his second daughter, and then he brought in his third daughter.
You had 60 days to leave. Why didn't you?
Then
The defendant moved into the house.
the landlord forced the issue.
You look like a very mild-mannered guy. I have a feeling that I'm looking at somebody who is in camouflage.
This is Judge Judy. Ronald Mendez is suing his former landlord, John Griga, for an illegal eviction, harassment, and stolen property.
Judge, this is case number 75 on the calendar and sworn in. You ladies may be seated, and happy birthday.
Thank you. Mr. Mendez, how long did you live in the house that is currently occupied by Mr. Griga?
About 9 years.
Who did you lease the house from? What was that person's name?
Gerald.
And you had a lease with him?
So we were month to month, and it was a gentleman's.
Just 1 second. In the beginning, when you rented from him, was it a year lease that turned into month to month, or was it always month to month?
It was always month to month.
What was your rent?
Originally, it was $500.
When did it change?
When my daughter started turning 18 and they didn't want to live with their mother no more, I had talked to Jerry. We call him Jerry. And Jerry said, just bring him in. We got room. I said, I'll pay you $800.
Was anybody else living in the house other than you and your daughter? Did you have the whole house or just a room in the house?
When I arrived, he had riffraff living there, doing drugs and alcohol and fighting. When I came in there, I helped Jerry get rid of them. And
I asked you a question. My question is a simple one.
Yes, there was other people there.
So you rented a room in the house?
Yes.
And your daughter lived with you, shared the room with you in the house?
Yeah, in the beginning, I got a bunk bed.
Now, the crux of your lawsuit is an illegal eviction. And it is your claim that the defendant became the owner of the house and gave you an eviction notice or a notice that he wanted you to move. That didn't happen. According to you, there were locks put on the door and locks changed. Ultimately, the defendant, according to him, moved into the house. At that point, according to you, you had had enough of what you call harassment, and you decided to leave in May of this year. That's your lawsuit.
Correct.
The defendant says you owe him rent, not rent from years ago, because I assume, Mr. Griga, that the plaintiff, over the 9 years that he lived there, was current in his rent, or else he would have been evicted.
Excuse me, Judge, but he did not live there for 9 years. He only lived there for 5 years.
How many?
He moved in May of 2015, and I have a copy of his application, which I provided to him.
Did you manage the property? Is that what you did?
Yes, from the day that he moved in.
Okay. Let's go back, Mr. Mendez. Did you move in 2015?
No, I was there longer than that.
Or 2011?
2011.
Well, when did you start working for the original owner, Mr. Griga?
Probably around 2014.
Okay. Well, Mr. Griga, the plaintiff is going to be able to establish by a variety of methods that he lived in his room. They have been that you, as the manager of the property, when you got there, gave him an application to rent a room. He says he lived there since 2011. And how would you know that he didn't live there in 2011 when you just started this job in 2014?
It might have been 2012 or 2013, but I know that there were previous renters there.
Mr. Griga, let's start off on the right foot, you and I, because this is my first case of the day. It also happens to be my birthday, and I don't want to put myself in a foul mood at the beginning of my day. When I asked you, is that correct? And you said, no, he didn't move in 2015 because here's his application. That was deceptive. Do you understand? That was deceptive because you had a piece of paper and someone who may not be as sharp as I am may have said, oh, there's a piece of paper, 2015. He must be telling me a fib. Then you come back and say, well, maybe it was 2012. Maybe it was also 2011.
Your Honor, it might have been 2011, but at that time, he might have moved in and might have moved out. But I know that I found him in 2015 because I placed an ad and he answered it. And we showed him the room and he filled up the property, signed it and dated it. And we started a month-to-month rental agreement.
Did you move in and out of this room, Mr. Mendez, over the course of 2011 to 2020?
I have been there consistently.
That's a yes or a no?
Yes.
You've been there consistently?
Yes. No in and out.
Had you ever lived between 2011 and 2020? Did you live anywhere else?
No.
Okay. Now I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Griga. I want you to tell me in what month and year you decided that you wanted the plaintiff out of the house and you wanted his room. You wanted to end the tenancy. You tell me.
The beginning of 2019.
And tell me why in the beginning of 2019 you decided you wanted him out of the house.
Because originally, if you look at the rental agreement, it shows that the rental agreement is only for Ron, which he also signed and dated, and Gerald signed and dated.
Keep going.
He brought in his daughter, and then he brought in his second daughter, and then maybe in the middle of 2019, he brought in his third daughter, and he shared 2 rooms at the house.
They had 2 rooms?
Yes.
Okay, when did he take the second room?
I think the second room started around 2018.
How much was the rent on the second room?
Well, both rooms were $800 a month, and I put together a rental agreement.
Okay.
His wife was going to also join him, but so we just continued on to a month-to-month.
Now, you gave him this rental agreement. Was Jerry still in the house?
Yes, he was. He was still the owner, but at that time I was essentially the property manager.
Okay. When did you become the owner of the house?
April of 2019.
And at what point did you give the plaintiff the first 30-day notice to quit?
Actually, it's a 60-day notice to quit.
You gave him a 60-day notice. What month?
November 11th of 2019.
Now, Mr. Mendez, you acknowledge that you got a 60-day notice pursuant to your agreement on November 11th, 2019. You acknowledge that you received that?
There was a paper on my door.
That's fine. That's the way he has to give you
Correct.
notice. You acknowledge you received it.
That I did, yes.
Well, then you had 60 days to leave. Why didn't you?
According to that, yes.
No. According to the law, you had
Well,
60 days to leave.
So he apparently is a mortgage broker, which means he should know the law. So, number one, when there's any kind of transaction that's being sold, he has to tell the neighbors, he's got to tell everybody. Jerry didn't even know.
Listen to me, Mr. Mendez. You cannot tell me what Jerry knew or what he didn't know. As far as I'm concerned, if he is the legal owner of the house now, Jerry knew the owner. You got a notice to leave pursuant to your lease agreement, which is now a month-to-month, on November 11th. My question is simple. Why didn't you start to make arrangements to move?
Again, Jerry didn't even know that he had become the owner. I got an affidavit from him.
You can't tell me that.
But still, nobody knew that he had become the owner. Nobody knew.
Okay. Well, now you know, right?
Right.
Mr. Mendez, I'm sort of sympathetic with you. I was very sympathetic when I read your papers. Initially, I'm getting a little less sympathetic because he didn't move to evict you during COVID. He didn't. He told you well before anybody knew that there was going to be a pandemic back in November of 2019 that he wanted you out of the house.
Okay, so...
He wanted you to leave. Now, I want to know why you didn't move.
Because Jerry told me no, it's still his house. And he had never told me he bought the house.
Okay. Now, on what date did the defendant show you proof, if ever, that it was, in fact, his house?
He never did.
Just a second. Tell me the circumstances around which you became the owner of this house.
The owner was having financial difficulties, and he asked me, he was in foreclosure. Anyway, he asked me if I would...
House before it went into foreclosure?
Yes.
Okay. In what month and year?
April 30th of 2019.
And how much did you pay for it?
I paid off the balance from his existing loan and took over his existing loan, so about $400,000. I don't know the exact number.
And who was the mortgage holder? What financial institution?
It was a bank. I forgot the name right now.
And what was the exact amount of the mortgage that they held on this property?
I would say about $350,000 was the loan, and there's probably about another $40,000 in back payments.
So he was in arrears? Is that what you're telling me? He was in arrears on that mortgage?
Yes.
I want to know how much you paid for the house.
I paid $29,030 for the back amount and took over
$29,030. And you took over the existing mortgage.
That was about
which was how much?
$355,000.
When you made this transfer with the bank, did Jerry sign the papers, or was your arrangement, Mr. Grieger, with the bank? Did you take over title to the house from the bank?
I got a new loan.
That's not my question. My question is, did you buy the house from the bank?
No, I bought it from Jerry.
Jerry, because he didn't get any money.
No, you normally, you sign all the documents, you get documents notarized, and then you do the recording of the deed.
What's the address of the house?
29 WACO.
Where is that located?
In Simi Valley.
How much money did you pay to Jerry?
I didn't pay anything to Jerry. Jerry says if I can make the payments current and if he can live in the house, he would transfer the house to me.
Well, Mr. Grieger, you got yourself a very, very good deal.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
That would be better than giving it to you. He doesn't have to go to other friends to do that. He's got friends like you. He doesn't need any other enemies. You see, Mr. Mendez, at the beginning of this process, I wasn't so happy with you. I'm getting a little happier.
Ronald Mendez says his former landlord, John Grieger, illegally evicted him and his family. John is countersuing for unpaid rent and harassment.
Well, Mr. Grieger, you got yourself a very, very good deal.
The house needed a lot of work.
Trusty, just a second. According to my trusty little iPad and Zillow, you got $1,000 for the house. The estimate or zestimate for this house, the high range is $700,000 or more than twice what you paid for it a year ago. So you got yourself a pretty good deal without paying Jerry a penny.
When I had the...
Didn't you suggest him that maybe he should put the house on the open market and see before it got foreclosed? Maybe he could wind up with a couple of bucks. He had been paying the mortgage for at least 9 years. How do you know, Jerry?
I've helped them on getting loan modification for his house about 5 years prior.
The average selling price for the houses nearby, or the comps, are $664,000, more than double of what you bought the house for.
Your Honor, when
That's
the bank did the
deal.
appraisal, they appraised it for $530,000, and that's with having the pool redone and the roof redone. A lot of work to be done.
All I'm telling you is, even if they appraise it at $530,000, you still got a pretty good deal. That's still almost twice what you paid for it.
Well, in a couple of weeks later, he was going to lose the house, and he offered it to me, and he went to everybody else, and he had no other...
You know, somebody who's in that business, sir, like you, because you said, that's my business. You look like a very mild-mannered guy. I have a feeling that I'm looking at somebody who is in camouflage.
Your Honor, I don't do mortgages.
Did you suggest to him that the houses in the neighborhood were selling for far more than what his existing mortgage is, and perhaps he could, even if he wound up with $50,000 in his pocket, that would be better than giving it to you for just bringing the mortgage up to date? He doesn't have to go to other friends to do that. He's got friends like you. He doesn't need any other enemies. Okay. I want you to tell me, Mr. Mendez, you see, at the beginning of this process, I wasn't so happy with you. I'm getting a little happier, just a little.
Okay. Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Considering the fact that you got a house for practically nothing was some sort of shady. I'm just new to your circumstance, and a quick observation on my trusty little iPad suggests to me you're the luckiest guy around.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ronald Mendez is accusing his former landlord, John Grieger, of illegally evicting him and his family.
You finally moved out in May. Where did you go?
I moved pretty much a mile away. A mile away. I had to put...
You moved a mile away into a house with your wife and 3 children?
Correct.
And did you rent it or buy it?
No, I don't have that kind of money. I had to rent it.
I'm just asking you.
Okay.
Rent. And what's the rent that you pay?
Almost $3,000.
For how many rooms?
Has 3 rooms.
The house has 3 rooms, or the house has more rooms and you have 3 rooms?
No, just 3 rooms.
What does that mean?
It just has 3 rooms. And a living room and a kitchen, of course. Yeah.
Is what you're telling me, Mr. Mendez, try not to be obtuse with me, is what you're telling me you rented a 3-bedroom, single-family house?
Yes.
Good. For $3,000?
Correct.
A month?
Correct.
That sounds reasonable. That's where you should live.
Right.
With your wife and 3 children. Correct. What kind of work do you do? What kind of work do you do?
Retail.
What does that mean, retail?
Right now I work for Hobby Lobby, which is a hobby store.
Okay. And your wife, does she work?
She does rehab for women addicted to drugs and alcohol.
And what about your daughters? Do they work?
Michaela is a special education teacher. Rylin is in school right now for cosmetology. And my youngest one is studying to be a vet.
Okay. So you have 3 people who were there who contribute to running the household.
Yes. And they pay the rent.
As it should be.
Yeah.
Well, and everybody contributes to paying the rent, as it should be.
Correct.
And you in the lease.
May 1st.
Did you give them a deposit?
Yeah, I had to put down around almost $3,000.
In April of 2020, did you pay rent in the rooms where you were living?
No, Jerry said he wouldn't.
No.
Okay.
No. Don't tell me what Jerry said.
No.
Just answer my question. Did you pay rent in April of 2020?
I could not.
You could not?
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't take it?
Yes.
Don't tell me what Jerry said.
No.
Jerry's not here. I don't care what you say he said.
What the thing is that Jerry was his voice because he would not talk to me. So Jerry said, John says not to take your money.
Just a second. Do you understand what I said to you?
Don't put Jerry in the middle, but he was the middle.
Tell me what Jerry said.
Correct.
That's not my problem. Then you should have had him here.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Did you pay rent in April is my question.
No.
The answer is no.
No.
Did you pay rent in March?
No.
Did you pay rent in February?
No.
Did you pay rent in January?
No.
Did you pay rent in December? It was $800 a month. You had the $2,400 a month that you needed for the security deposit and to move in to the other house.
Correct.
Good. And now you want another $5,000.
Okay, so there's an actual breakdown.
No.
Yes, I do. It was actually 9,000 something. Yes. Because I hate to say, but the agreements that I made was with Jerry. Everything was Jerry. He was never in the picture. He was never in the picture. Jerry said, take the money and apply it to the...
Your case is dismissed. Now we're going to get to your counterclaim, which is likewise dismissed, sir. I think that whatever dealings you did with Jerry, and considering the fact that you got a house for practically nothing, was some sort of shady. I don't know what condition this Jerry is. I don't know what condition. I don't know if he has family. I don't know any of those things. But I'm just new to your circumstance. And a quick observation on my trusty little iPad suggests to me you're the luckiest guy around. You bought a house for $320,000. The estimate is $699,000, or more than twice what you paid for it a year ago. And the guy, Jerry, is evidently still living there. Is he still here? I have a counterclaim that I've dismissed, and I hope you're happy in your 3-bedroom house with your wife and 3 children, which is where you should be, not 2 rooms in a house. We're done. Thank you. Goodbye.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy, does she want her money?
Everything started going downhill once she found out I had a girlfriend.
Or revenge?
I think you're pulling my leg. I think that this is a judicial leg pulling.
Next Judge Judy.
This man is shrewd, very shrewd, and...
I really wasn't the official property manager.
He was a peeping Tom with my kids.
That's totally not true either.
He's a retail broker. You should know he can't just walk into people's houses.
I've never seen any of the daughters.
Well, first of all, he stole the house from them. And I think that was a quick claim deed.
No, that wasn't a quick claim deed.
Because Jerry told me that he was going to get him a better rate in the mortgage.
I talked to Jerry about that.
It's easy to slip a quick claim deed in